We need to crush.
Right.
This.
And I want to show you this. Here's another one. This this was read on July 8, 1775. Here's another one. This is where the king actually addressed our
Continental
Congress. He says this: whereas many of our subjects in diverse parts of our colonies and plantations in North America, misled by dangerous and ill-designing men. What did Biden call them? MAGA Republicans? Guys, seriously, this is so stupid. And if you can't see this is tyranny, and if you can't see that we've got to be active now, you're never going to change. The whole reason that our founders even stood against us is because they saw tyranny. Watch this. And he goes, they've been misled by dangerous and ill-designing men and forgetting the allegiance which they owe to the power that has protected and sustained them. They forgot who their allegiance lies to. Watch this. After various disorderly acts committed in disturbance of public peace, to the obstruction of lawful commerce, and to the oppression of our loyal subjects carrying on the same. Now, keep going.
Do you have more? Because I want to do a comparison of that speech with it fresh in people's minds and some of what Biden said.
We got the gist. He was calling our founders insurrectionists, ill-designing men, promoters of insurrection, promoters of tyranny, promoters of what was that word that he used? Like a plot to basically destroy our government. Conspiracy. Yep. So that's what the king was saying about our founders. Go ahead.
This is what Biden is saying about MAGA Republicans. MAGA Republicans have made their choice. They embrace anger. They thrive on chaos. They live not in the light of truth, but in the shadow of lies. But together, we can choose a different path. We can choose a brighter path forward to the future, a future of possibility, a future to build a dream and hope. And we're on that path moving forward. We're all called by duty and conscience to confront extremists who put their own pursuit of power above all else. Democrats, independents, mainstream Republicans, we must be stronger, more determined, and more committed to saving American democracy. And MAGA Republicans are destroying American democracy. We, the people, will not let anyone or anything tear us apart. Today, there are dangers around us we cannot allow to prevail.
Are you hearing this?
We hear. You've heard it. More and more talk about violence as an acceptable political tool in this country. It's not. It can never be an acceptable tool. So I want to say this plain and simple. There is no place for political violence in America. Period. None. Ever. You saw law enforcement brutally attacked on January the 6th. We've seen election officials, poll workers, many of them volunteers of both parties, subject to intimidation and death threats. And can you believe it?
Wow.
FBI agents just doing their job as directed, facing threats to their own lives from their own fellow citizens. On top of that, there are public figures today, yesterday, and the day before predicting and all but calling for mass violence and rioting in the streets. This is inflammatory. It's dangerous. It's against the rule of law, and we, the people, must say this is not who we are. I just want to say I did that better than Biden did.
I just want to say, if you can't see the similarities with what we just read from King George, right, to Parliament, and if you can't see the similarity to that, if you can't see the similarity of the Pharisees to Christ, these guys, that guy is destroying our system. He's coming against our God. He's lying. He's not the Son of God, and he claims to be. We should kill him. Well, look what Paul did. Right. Same thing. People would come against him. We should kill him because he's destroying. Acts 21, Acts 19. You could see the stories. They align so well. They literally point the finger and accuse. And because of the sinfulness of man, they'll look at an accusation faster than they will truth. In this nation now, listen, in this nation, we're considered guilty till proven innocent. It's no longer innocent till proven. We don't even look at the heart of man anymore and say, what's going on here? A woman can say, he raped me, and now it's just believed. We should just believe them for saying that. A man could say, or a gay guy can say, well, he did this to me. Someone could cry racism, and we just believe them because they're black or because they're Mexican or because of this. And don't come at me with this crap, okay? You know exactly what I'm saying, and it's provable. What's his name? The actor guy hiring somebody and wrote a check in Chicago. Jussie Smollett. Whatever his name is.
If you still believe Jussie Smollett, you are on the wrong side. And I don't invoke this whole right side of history, but if you still believe him, you are mistaken.
Dude, he was proven.
You are led astray.
Mike Shotwell just said Biden should be called out for plagiarizing King George.
I think we need to start that hashtag.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about that is, I'm guessing he understood this. Biden is known for plagiarizing speeches. He takes speeches all the time and plagiarizes them.
Well, they do it. They do that stuff. Now, I just want to read this. This was the response from our founders to the King of Great Britain.
Listen very closely to what our founders were saying.
This is where we got to think of principle and not emotion, not get upset. Think principally how your words come out so you're not found in contempt, okay? Listen closely. This is what the founder said. It was December 6, 1775. December 13th, I'm sorry. We are accused of forgetting the allegiance which we owe to the power that has protected and sustained us. I just read that in the proclamation the king gave to the people, or to the parliament. What allegiance is that we forget? What allegiance is it that we forgot? He said, allegiance to parliament? We never owed, and we never owned it. Who told us we were supposed to be in allegiance to that? By natural rights of man, we shouldn't have to be in allegiance to any one man.
And that's such an important line, because people don't understand what was the war for independence about. They didn't recognize allegiance to parliament. Now or the king. Now here's why. Go ahead.
He says, allegiance to our king? Our words have never avowed it. We've never come against the king. We didn't even come against parliament, they said. We oppose the claim and exercise of unconstitutional powers to which neither the crown nor parliament were ever entitled.
In other words, you're exercising unconstitutional powers and authority. That's what we're against.
That's exactly it. It has nothing to do with you. It's what you do that I'm against. Y'all, if y'all ain't praying for Biden and salvation, if we're not praying for Democrats and their salvation, we got this wrong.
Right.
I'm not against them. Jesus said, get behind me, Satan, not get behind me, Peter. Right?
It's the fruit that matters.
Right? Yes, dude. I'm against their unconstitutional policy. And if they continue in this crap, if they continue in this vein, then it's our job to remove them by voting.
And I want people to fully understand that's what the war for independence was about. People think stamp tax, and they just wanted to be independent, and the crown was kind of being mean to them. No, the crown and parliament were not upholding the constitution that the colonies were under. There was a constitution over the land and the colonies, and the colonists were saying, you're not upholding the constitution. You're treating us differently than the people on the island. You're being unconstitutional. What do we do here? Because you're not respecting the same law you expect us to abide by.
I mean, think about it, dude. We could go out and if God calls us to fight, we fight, right? But at this point, it's so above us right now. This is all spiritual right now. You can't turn the tide of the prince of the power of the air by yourself.
Right.
It is literally a spiritual battle. We've got to recognize this. We've got to be fasting and praying for this. If our founders did it, what makes us think the nation will return if we can't do it? And dude, they weren't just fasting. They were praying, fasting, and repenting.
Right.
Over 1,500 government issued days of prayer, fasting, and proclamation to the Lord and repenting of their sins. Legit. So we say the sin of slavery. Dude, they were consistently repenting of the evils that they did. Even to where I forget his name. That issued the proclamation before Washington had it read to his troops. He said that God wouldn't be mad at us. He wouldn't be his anger wouldn't be against us. That when we go into this course of war, we would repent of our sins, so he wouldn't have his displeasure against us. Right? Listen to another excerpt from our founders to this. Okay, we know of no laws. This is another excerpt of their response to the King of Great Britain. We know of no laws binding upon us, but such as have been transmitted to us by our ancestors, and such have been consented to ourselves. Or our representatives elected for that purpose. What laws? What laws stamped with these characters have we withstood? We have indeed defended them, and we will risk everything, do everything, and suffer everything in their defense. What he's saying here is, we didn't go against you. We're actually defending our rights. We're defending the law by going against you. It's not going against you because you're not upholding it. We're defending the rights. We're defending the Constitution. You say I'm being unconstitutional. No. I'm defending it against you. See what I'm saying? I love you enough, President Biden, right, to say you're doing this wrong. I love you enough, President Trump, to say you're wrong about this. You were wrong about some things. And a patriot would do that. A real Christian would do that. It doesn't matter what position of office they hold. There's a respect factor, yes, but there's no position that'll hold me from telling you the truth. Therefore, you and I, right, Easy E, his last show today, Easy E, I'm kidding, dude. Like all of us here, all of us watching this, have a duty before God to love people in truth. I don't care if he's Republican. I don't care if he's conservative. I don't care if he's Christian. I don't care if he's a Democrat. We have a job to do to say, Lord, this is your word and needs to be preached, right? And they're breaking the law. Not only that, they're breaking God's law. We can't expect them to hold constitutional law if they're not even keeping God's law.
Right.
That's where it starts. We've got to preach the gospel. The law of God has been forgotten by most of our representatives. And I dare say the ones on the Republican side, too.
Oh, yeah.
There's many of them. Many of them. Not all of them, but many of them. They would rather see us take guns up than do fasting and prayer. They would rather see us fall to the hand of the Democrats because it's easy.
And
because they're promised some kind of riches.
And that's where we really have to be careful as a conservative movement is do not get swept up in the anger and vitriol and violence. Because as soon as you do, you give them every excuse. Now, there's been some thoughts that there's a theory that the whole reason they did this speech this way was hopefully to incite some conservatives to act desperately. And so that way, then they can point the finger and say, see, they're committing violence. You need us. We told you. They're unhinged. They're crazy. If you go to a rally, keep your eyes peeled for anybody who's trying to cause violence or chaos. Stop them in their tracks.
So what did he say?
I think, Massey, that face says subscribe. That face says like. It says notify me. It says our clips are beautiful.
I mean, you got to subscribe.
You should be subscribing right now.
Yeah.
And you saw the clip.
You got to share it with a friend.
Share it with all your friends. Share it with your family. You know what? We are the Amway of podcasts.
You know, the more subscribes you get, the more easy he gets paid. So if we get no subscriptions, he don't get paid.
I will remember.
Yeah, E. What you think of that?
Yeah. Support him.
And ring that bell. Subscribe.